Okay everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel today. We're back on GTSport and we're back with the FIA manufacturers. It's a new season, it's the off-season exhibition season, which isn't really that important. So I haven't really done much practice for this. Well, I didn't do much practice for this. I came on to the game literally about 5-10 minutes before the lobby was due to start the race. So I managed to get a couple of laps warming up, literally about 2 laps just to get some rhythm into the track. And then went into qualifying, and qualifying didn't go that well, as pointed out by the title in the video. Did my first lap, which was this lap, I tried a different tactic. Obviously I'm trying new things in qualifying, trying to get a way to improve the qualifying. Didn't work out in this. The first lap, obviously I messed up the turn 1 because I ran really wide and got a massive, quite a big penalty, so I had to back out of that. And then again, this front drifted again through turn 1, which was really weird because I didn't carry too much speed. It started to slide. I think I inputted too much steering input in, and it just slid the front end, and I ran wide and got a half-second penalty. So I had to get rid of that straight away and then just carry on with the lap. And you can see I was about 30 miles per hour down going into the braking zone, so well, about 25 miles per hour down, so lost at least half a second, maybe more, probably about 6-7 tenths of a second just on that one point there, because obviously I had to then get back up to speed as well, which was a bit unfortunate, but I had to carry on with this lap because I hadn't set a time. I was trying different things for qualifying. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for myself. I managed to drive the rest of the lap reasonably okay. It wasn't particularly amazing. Basically just tried to keep on the track so it didn't start dead last. Unfortunately, again in this lobby, 3 drivers got disconnected before the lobby actually went into the race screen. When we were loading up the game, instantly disconnected 3 drivers, and it's not good enough. They really need to look at this, because when it gets through to obviously the official seasons, people not making it through due to disconnects and stuff like that is not on. They need to sort this out. There's something not right, because it's happening a lot more recently than it ever did, as I made a mistake on that final corner also, which maybe lost a tenth or 2 just on that exit. Went over the line with a not too great 30.5, I think it is, or 6, which was way off what I expect. I expected to be getting with the medium tyres about a 129.2 if I hit a perfect lap, or maybe a 0.4 to 6 if I hit an okay lap. But over a second off, obviously, just bit of a disaster starting down in P11. So I've just got to try and fight back and just try and get some positions back in this race, because I want to try and avoid losing as much driver rating as possible. That was the aim of the race, starting at P11. Out of 17 cars, unfortunately there wasn't the full 20 grid because of the disconnects. You can see some cars obviously not using traction control at the start. I see Stouffer there not using it and lost out quite badly there. I straight away get myself, it looks like staying in P11, but then as I go into the corner, the car on the outside just turned in. I don't think he realised I was there, but I did run a little bit wide also. Fortunately he carried on, I carried on, then the Porsche undercuts myself and turns across my line a bit, but again I don't think he realised I was there, so not really a massive issue. So down actually into P12, so I braked very early. I could see the mayhem which was going to start, so I braked very early, let them all go flying in, hitting each other, and then I just undercut, get on the pound nice and early, and managed to get myself back up to P11. And actually had a point where I could have gone down the right hand side, but he cut that off from the Aston Martin, which is fair enough. The Aston Martin, quite a fast car down the straight, so I would have been struggling anyway to make that move. So straight away you can see up to P10, I've got a car on the outside of myself now, up into P9, give him some space there. He tried to turn in on me a bit, but I don't think he realised I was there. I was giving him plenty of space. But P9 off the start, so gained 2 positions straight away, so not a bad start. Could have been better, could have been worse. Fortunately, no penalties for a change off the start, even with the slight contact there is. And this is one thing I say about consistency. We need some consistency in the way the game handles stuff, because that was probably a worse start than the Interlagos for myself in terms of contact and stuff. And I didn't get any penalties in this, but I did in the Interlagos race. But maybe they've changed something. I don't know if they can change penalties server side, because I did notice that the limits in this race were a lot different than the limits within the time trial session. They seemed a bit stricter in this session, and you couldn't get rid of the penalty into turn 1 in the qualifying like you could when doing the time trial. So it shows you that they must be able to do something. As I'm now working our way up to the start of lap 2 now on the back straight, picking the slipstream up. You can see managed to get rid of the driver behind me, which is about 9 tenths behind, and the driver in front's got a penalty. The problem is though, the Ferrari, quite a strong car in a straight line up ahead, and we've got a Dodge Viper up ahead also, battling away, and an Aston Martin, so a lot of fast cars. My strategy was, I mean, I went into this race thinking that it was definitely a one-stop strategy. I did do the tests, comparing the times, and the one-stop was faster, but obviously I wasn't taking into account this kind of traffic. There was a possibility of not stopping in this race. It just got really risky towards the end, and I didn't really want to risk that for the first round. I just wanted to get some points onto the board. As you can see, getting so close through that corner, 4 or 5 cars battling away here, and you can see Oscar Slent now just pulling away because he's got a clear air, no one battling with him, and it was a bit annoying because I know I had the pace to actually pretty much match Oscar Slent here. You can see try and have a little look on the inside there, but he cuts that off again. So just stuck in this traffic and just having to be really patient. I'm moving around a lot because I was getting a bit frustrated. I wanted to get past, but trying to keep my cool. I don't want to make a mistake that's going to drop me down to the back of the grid, and then going through that final corner, trying to get a good strong exit. But again, they've all got slipstreams and they're faster cars down the straight, so again, just having to sit there in the slipstream. Fortunately now we can just rev these cars out with the fuel settings that they're using, and it does look like they're trying something even different again on Saturday's race, with soft tyres and medium tyres in the Group 4 cars with ×4 wear. That could be interesting how the medium tyres will work with the ×4 wear. Obviously, I think the soft tyres will go off far too quick with ×4 wear, but it'll be interesting to see how that works out. As again, trying to put some pressure on the Ferrari in front of me. Again, not able to get close enough in the braking zone, but again, getting really good exit from that corner and picking the slipstream up. And they're all battling away. I just decided pretty much at this point, there's no point really having a look anywhere that's going to cost me any time. So I just decided to sit back and just wait for any mistakes that are going to happen and try and grab a position if anyone was going to make an error anywhere, as the Aston Martin managing to get past me, because obviously the Aston Martin's got a bit more speed than the Alfa Romeo, one of the weaker cars in a straight line, so that was probably a fairly easy move to try and make on the Alfa Romeo, but he actually hasn't made that stick. It looks like the Alfa Romeo held the inside line up front, but you can see again through the corner I had to lift again because I wanted to get on the power, but the Ferrari in front of me was really slow getting on the power, so again losing out on the acceleration as I try and get the power really early to get a good clean entry into the corner. And again, I had to lift off through the mid corner because they weren't carrying the speed through the corner, so this was quite frustrating because I know my speed was a lot better than what I could show, but this is a thing from not getting your qualifying lap in again. Similar thing to Interlagos, didn't hit this is probably my worst qualifying session I've ever had in the game, to be fair, because Interlagos I was only 3 attempts off pole. This was just pretty much one of the worst attempts of qualifying I've ever done, but I had to get rid of the penalty or I would have been starting at the back of the grid. So you can see now going up the inside and starting to pick up the slipstream with that Aston Martin, and that's going to help me out. But again, this is going to be a hard place to overtake, so I did something I do very much on the Assetto Corsa, go really wide, cut back on the inside. This is what I used to do on the Assetto Corsa. You get a much better exit from that corner, and then you've got the inside line for the next corner. So I've managed to make a really nice overtake there, putting myself up into P8, and I've got a chance of possibly getting up the inside of the Alfa Romeo, but the Ferrari's bump drafting that Alfa Romeo. I don't know if it helped him out, it looks like it did. Trying to hold the inside line again, and not really able. I think without that bump draft I would have been able to get past the Alfa Romeo there, but he's managed to hold that position and keep himself there in P7. So unfortunately close to getting myself into P7 again. His car was lagging. If you've seen them, the lag that came off his car, it just stopped instantly on the corner and hits my car, even though his car's not actually there. It's just the lag in the game. I think he was having massive connection issues in this, even though his bars were all green. You can see it throughout the races. He's lags around a lot, and he actually causes me a few issues quite a few times where his car lags, hits my car, slows my car down, but then his car boosts up ahead because it's just lag. It's not actually happened to him, so it's a bit frustrating. But again, it's just issues with the game. Maybe this lobby wasn't very stable with obviously the 3 drivers that had the disconnects also at the start of the race. But so far in this race, it's going okay. I've managed to make up a few positions, running a little bit wide out of turn 1, and that's going to be a penalty because I ran too far wide. A bit of understeer when behind the car in front, picking up a half a second penalty. So I got a gap to behind me, so I'm going to just get rid of that straight away. You see on the straight, trying to slowly get rid of it and get rid of that, and then back into the braking zone. And it's not actually lost me too much time, although I went a bit too deep, and then I've got to just get on the power a little bit later, so lost a bit of time on the exit there. But it looks like the car in front wasn't really pushing through there. I'm not too sure why, but I didn't really lose much time, or only a few attempts, as he's now approaching P6 in that Dodge Viper. Who looks like he's starting to struggle with the tyres a little bit, and you've got the Aston Martin just ahead of him. He's got past that Dodge Viper, so clearly it was a bit frustrating for me because I think if I could have got past the Alfa Romeo when I did get past, I would have been able to stay in that Aston Martin slipstream and keep pushing and get past the Dodge Viper as well. Possibly if I obviously got close enough in the braking zone, but it would have been hard to do because the Porsche is a little bit underpowered. So I knew that when picking the Porsche it could be an issue, and this is one thing I need to really try and do, is get my qualifying sorted, because the Porsche is a car that if you can go from the front of the grid and push really hard and get through the corners really fast, it can really help you out. But then if you midfield, it can really cause you issues because the ability to overtake isn't quite there. It's a little bit slower than the AMG GT3 also, which I obviously used in the official season. It'll be interesting to see. I've seen quite a few people picking that as, again, going through that corner. I don't run as wide as the car in front of me, but you're going to see, I think I get a penalty here and he doesn't. Yeah, look, I get the penalty and he didn't get a penalty when he ran about 4 cars with extra wide than I did. So issues with the track limits still on there. It's strange. I thought they'd possibly, it felt like in qualifying like they'd made it a lot more strict and repaired some of it, but clearly it's a very random whether you're going to get a penalty through that corner or not, as I went into that corner nowhere near as wide as the Alfa Romeo in front of me, but I pick up a penalty. So strange things, but you can see the battling away in front of me. And again, at this stage I thought, what do I do here now, because I'm getting held up. I want to just drive clean, and I'm having to I keep trying to get the power early to get a move done on that turn 2, on turn 1, sorry, try and get the power nice and early, but I keep getting penalties. So I felt like I was going to have to try something different and maybe go in the pits at the end of lap 6, and obviously I would have normally done it at lap 7. I didn't know if other people would be doing the no-stop strategy or not, but judging by some of the cars the way they're dropping off already, I didn't really expect it. You can see they were losing a lot of speed already. I was trying to get past the Alfa Romeo going into the pit, so I actually braked very early there to get rid of the penalty that I had accumulated out of that corner again, and went into the pits with no penalty. But for some reason, I go into the pits with no penalty at all, and watch when I come out with another penalty. So it's really strange, and I have a feeling it could be something to do with the exit. I don't really know, but into the pits, a few other cars pitted as well. Not everyone pitted though. Obviously I expected a lot of people to pit at the end of lap 7 or 6, and I did expect people to do the no sub strategy. But then as I come out the pits now, you're going to see coming out the pits, my car gets really close to him and actually comes into contact. He picks up a penalty and I pick up a penalty because of the game actually slowing us down on the pit exit, and annoyingly it put me into second gear as well on the exit, so I couldn't accelerate properly. So another penalty through an issue with the game. I mean, it's frustrating. This is why they need to look at the penalty system, but it's not really that important because this season's not really got any relevance to it. It's just about practice, so I wasn't too worried. I knew that I could get rid of the penalty easily like I did into turn 1. I sacrificed getting closer to him at the start. I just thought, get rid of my penalty, get into a rhythm again on these fresh tyres, and try and start putting some better lap times in now, and seeing if I had reasonably okay pace. It's going to take me a while. Obviously them first laps, stuck behind so much traffic, you tend to lose the rhythm and struggle to get yourself back up to speed. And to be honest, how late I came onto the game, I didn't really expect to be doing too well in this race anyway. I just jumped on, as again the car in front with that massive lag, it looks like he's running off the track, and again he darts forward, and this is not what you want when the car's in front of you. It's not the best thing to see, as I pick up a little penalty there through running slightly wide on the exit of that corner. It's a very easy penalty to get, but only half a second, so not a massive issue. I've got no real cars behind me at the moment. I'm back into my qualifying position, P11, as 2 cars are in the pit, so I'm going to be able to jump a few positions straight away going over the line. You see, let's see what position we are as we go down the straight. I think we've gained 1 position possibly there, so up into P10, 1 position gain, but it looks like a lot of people are not pitting. Oscar Slim pitted in the lead. I think that was the fastest strategy, especially for him, because obviously he's not going to have as many cars to overtake, and they're going to be on terrible tyres when he gets to them, and he's going to have a lot fresher tyres. But I was quite surprised to see the amount of cars that did it. Maybe when I seen who was actually in P2, the Aston Martin was actually in P2, I think it is, I was thinking to myself, would I have been better, especially with the Porsche's tyre wear, just to stay out and try the no-stop strategy? But I really didn't have an idea of whether it was going to be the best strategy to do. It was risky in terms of tyre wear, so I wanted to go aggressive. I wanted some fresh tyres on, and I wanted to be able to push and try and get into a rhythm of the track. So now I need to really try and push on and try and see if I can start making some gains on the driver in front in P9. It looks like I felt like I knew I had the speed to catch him up. It's just passing is another thing, but hopefully if he can't get the slipstream with another car, the Porsche in the slipstream should have enough to get past that Alfa Romeo. So starting to get into a rhythm now, still not really hooking up all the corners, but just trying to build up a little bit of rhythm and see if I can start putting some better lap times in, and starting to gain a little on him now, just a tenth or so on this lap. And let's see, we go over the line with personal best and the fastest lap of the race so far, so it's clear that the pace was there. It's just a case of obviously stuck in traffic, not really being able to use it. I actually beat my qualifying lap there when I've got the harder compound tyre on, so it shows you how bad that qualifying lap was. But I knew that anyway. I knew I would have been able to get well into the 29s if I would have just got a semi-okay lap in. But maybe for these FIA races where they're not as high splits, I need to just go for a safer way of qualifying and not really try and get the ultimate lap in, because I think for these races, as long as you're in the top 3 in qualifying, that's all that matters. I think for the FIA top 24 races, they're the ones which might be worth taking risks for and trying different strategies. But I've learnt my lesson anyway for this one, and I think I'll go for more consistent approach in qualifying. It's a bit frustrating because qualifying has always been one of my strongest things on other games, on project cars and stuff like that. It was one of my strong attributes, but really not going my way in qualifying recently. I've been not making the best use of the qualifying session and putting myself in awkward positions. But again, going through that sector of a purple sector quite a bit ahead of the previous lap I did. But I don't think I fully hooked it. As I going into this corner, I braked really early. I don't know why I did that, but managed to still get on the accelerator and carry the speed through the corner. And again, closing in on the driver in front, gained another four tenths on him, nearly half a second on that one lap, and go over the line again on a very low 1:30. So the consistency is getting there now as I'm getting into a rhythm, as I'm able to now just drive with no cars in front of me. Obviously I've got the P9 in front of me, but he's just a little bit ahead. I'm not in his slipstream yet, so just trying to get into that slipstream, and again getting so close to that slipstream, just over a second behind him. And again his car's starting to lag, which again is not what you want to see as I go through another purple sector. So starting to put in some really good sectors now and getting some rhythm. It's just closing in on picking that slipstream up, but I just lose it as he's getting on the power. So unfortunately though, he's going to start picking up the slipstream of the cars in front of him that haven't pitted. So these cars have not pitted for fresh tyres, so once we get to the back of them, they should be fairly easy to overtake. I can't see there being much of an issue in terms of getting past them, because they're going to have no traction, they're going to have no cornering speed, and it should be fairly simple to get past them. As it looks like P8 and 7 there, so and P6 also. It looks like a few positions are going to be possible to be made up in these last few laps, as so close again to picking up the slipstream of that P9 as another personal best through that sector, and now just about in the slipstream under acceleration. So the only problem is, again though, I think he's now got that full slipstream with the car in front of the Dodge Viper in front, so he's getting a bit of a toe of the Porsche in front of him, so he's getting a little bit of a toe now. Again, gained quite a bit on him on that lap, another 3 tenths or so, but as we go over the line, we'll have a little look what lap is. Again, a very low 1:30, and another new fastest lap of the race and personal best. So this is showing that the pace was there. I just obviously messed up qualifying, and it is a shame. And again, look at the difference in traction there on the acceleration on the Porsche that hasn't pitted yet. And this is why I kind of wanted to change tyres. Also, looking at where the other cars are, which I was right behind, they're a lot further up. So as I go through this corner though, getting the slipstream of the Alfa Romeo and going through this corner, I get a really good exit if you have a little look now, but his car lags, hits my car and stops my car accelerating because of the lag on his car. So again, that is so frustrating, because as I'm getting on the power, getting a really good exit and wanting to possibly make a move on that Alfa Romeo, the lag stopped my car accelerating and I couldn't get down the inside. So a little bit frustrating, because I think I would have been able to make a move on the inside there, because I got really close and I had a really good exit off that corner. But again, the game, obviously, I think it must have been his connection or the lobby or something was causing him to have a lot of lag and moving around on the track with the way the car was obviously desyncing. But you can see the cars up ahead battling, and they've obviously battling on the older tyres. The Dodge Viper nearly losing control of his car, going through that corner. And the Alfa Romeo goes for a move on the inside. I'm on the left-hand side just trying to take the normal racing line. However, the Dodge Viper has to brake so early because he's got old tyres. I actually tapped into the back of him there, but luckily he didn't go off all the way on the track. He got back on, and the Alfa Romeo completely loses control all by himself. I actually picked up a 5-second penalty there. I would have let the Dodge Viper back pass, but but with a 5-second penalty, and then the tyres, there was no point me letting him back pass because his tyres were gone. He had no grip at all, so I would have ended up having to wait behind God knows how many cars. So I just carried on. I've got a 5-second penalty that I've got to get rid of anyway, so carry on now and try and get myself up past some other cars, because I need to try and build a bit of a cushion up to, I think it was VP Duffer in front there. I needed to get a gap to him, which shouldn't be too hard with the fresher tyres, and then get rid of this 5-second penalty that I've got as going through that corner, turn 2 on the power nice and early, and trying to see if I can get some good traction out of the corner. Got some reasonably good traction, getting in the slipstream now of VP Duffer, and this should be a fairly easy overtake because he's really struggling with the grip on that car. As we go into the braking zone, this is where you see the difference. Look how much time you gain on braking, nearly on the rear of this car. And this is what I was saying, it's so hard to judge when they've obviously got the poor tyres going through there now side by side, and he pretty much lets me take that position because I think he realised there was no point fighting that. I've got a much faster car and I've put myself now into P6. However, I've got a 5-second penalty to get rid of, as you can see there on the screen, from that contact with the Dodge Viper, which was unfortunate. I did apologise at the end of the race for that because that was my fault, although it was so hard to judge because he braked so early with them old tyres, and he did also say obviously his tyres were completely gone, so he had no grip anyway. But now I've got to try and I think if without this 5-second penalty, I think, going into the final lap, I think I could have got past P5 also, because I had a clear pace advantage again. His tyres are struggling massively. He's gained half a second just on that last sector of that last lap, but now I need to try and get rid of the penalty. So I thought there's no point me worrying about trying to pick up P5. I might as well as again, he runs really wide out of that corner but doesn't pick up a penalty, but I was picking up penalties through running just nowhere near as wide as that. It's a strange penalty system on that corner. They need to have a look at it and sort that out for good for any future races they do at this track. As we come out of this corner now, getting on the power nicely, he has a massive moment there, and you can see how close I was getting, under 1.5 seconds, and I think I would have been able to get past from this position because he would have lost probably about a second just on the next few corners, but I decided to get rid of that penalty there, get rid of as much as I can, get it down to 1 second, without obviously letting VP Duffer back past. And then I'm going to try again. I tried to get rid of some of the penalty up here, and he's only about just under 3 seconds ahead, so it shows you how much he's struggling with the grip on that car in P5. But again, tried to get rid of some penalty there, but only got rid of a very small amount. Still got half a second's worth of penalty to get rid of, so I just have to get rid of that on the start finishing line. But you're going to see now on the end of the lap, I've managed to already gain a second on the car in front from when I obviously got rid of that penalty. So struggling massively in that Porsche up ahead, and this is one of the reasons why I didn't really want to do the no stop strategy. I felt like it was risky, but looking at the positions that people have finished, I think I would have had a chance for a P2 or 3. So unfortunate that I didn't go on the no stop strategy, but getting rid of the penalty and recovering that position to a P6 is not too bad, considering I obviously stopped as well. Clear that I had the speed. It's just a case of traffic getting in the way and not really being able to make moves. Obviously trying to get rid of penalties as well. I had to keep getting rid of penalties because of the amount that I was getting, but luckily I recovered enough positions in that race to not lose any driver rating, which was the aim of that race. So quite an enjoyable race going back through the field with fresh tyres. I kind of like the way that they've changed the fuel around with the tyres. It meant that the one stop had a clear grip advantage compared to the no stop, but they were fairly close. So it looks like they're working these things out quite well. It looks like they're putting a little bit of effort in to try and make sure that both strategies are very close. So that was interesting. I think with regards to the damage, I still think that it's a good move. I think I actually picked up damage also when I hit that. If you would have seen on my damage screen, when I hit the Dodge Viper, I actually had damage on the front, but it was still drivable. It didn't really affect me too much. Probably lost a few tenths a lap, but nothing massive. Come away with 1,500 points, which isn't too great, but with the disconnects that happened in that race, the points just massively went down. They would have been a fair bit higher, but unfortunately the disconnects ruined that. But yeah, with regards to the damage, I think it's a good move still. I just think that people are going to take time to get used to it. I think even in lower splits, I think people have just got to give it time, let everyone understand what is going to happen if they do make a stupid move and try and do a rash overtake or something. I think give it a few months, people get used to it, and I think the racing will improve with this damage, the heavy damage setting that they're using for the FIA races. It'd be interesting to see if they bring any of these settings into the daily races to try and get people used to these settings, because If they're only keeping them in FIA and then leaving daily races as a different model, people are going to go from daily races where they think they can overtake and do anything to FIA where you can't, and it's the the crossover. Will they realise, or will they just go straight into these FIA races and just kamikaze everyone? So let's just see what happens. Give it a few months. Let Polyphony experiment. That's what these seasons are for. If without experimenting, the game's not going to make progress. So I'm glad that they're doing this, and I look forward to seeing the other changes that they're going to do in the future. Anyway, thanks again for watching. I'll be back very soon for more videos on GTSport, and make sure you subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Click that notification button so you don't miss any future videos. And thanks again for watching, everyone.